everyone. Hare Krishna, you can unmute.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Just 1 second. Okay. So Hare Krishna. Today's chapter number and name.
Mataji, 14th chapter, 3 modes of nature, Mataji.
Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga Mataji.
Hare, wow, so nice. What do you mean by guna?
Sattva guna, tamo guna, rajo guna.
Okay, 3 types
Modes,
of guna.
Mataji. 3
Modes,
types of
very
modes.
nice. Guna also has one more meaning. It means ropes, thread, rope, right? That is also called guna. So this chapter is a very important chapter because this one, see, we always talk about jnana and vijnana, right? I'm not the body, I'm the soul. This is jnana. But practically, if someone scolds us, can we really take it that well? So if I'm going to, shout at Manasvi, telling that Manasvi is such a bad girl, how will she feel? How will you feel, Manasvi, if I'm going to shout at you?
I will feel bad, Mataji.
You'll feel bad. So that time, I'm not the body, I'm not the soul is not going to come. So let me shift the same question to Nandita Mataji. So if I'm going to shout at Nandita Mataji, Nandita, I don't like the way you're doing. This is not right. That is not right. You're not doing this. So how will she feel? Nandita, your view.
If you say it, I won't feel bad because I know you.
Yeah, but assuming someone just shouts at you here in the class.
Then I will feel bad like Manasvi.
Yeah. So now point coming to, anyway, thank you so much for the compliment. So this is like, so coming back to the second chapter, right? So I'm not the body, I'm the soul. We have like gone into theory, which is jnana, but vijnana has not been applied by us still. But this chapter is very important because this chapter, whatever we understand will directly translate into vijnana. I can guarantee you this, no matter how much ever it is, at least, before we end the class, 18th day, I'm going to ask you this question. Every one of you all, when you come, because this is one thing which, we say we should not judge people, but after understanding this, judging them becomes so appropriate because we are not judging them. But what happens is, I will take, but when you are in this chapter, you have so much life. So when you see someone, what happens is when you feel like going and giving them one smash, when you get so angry, or when you're upset, or when you feel the person is too good, these questions have always come in our minds, right? Have you come across someone who is too good? Like sometimes you feel this person is too good to be true. Have you come across someone like that? I have. Have you, anyone have felt, oh my God, this person is too good?
Yes, Mataji.
Right? So this is one. Same way, have you come across someone who says that this person is so bad? Oh my God. Oh my Krishna. I have never seen a person so bad. No matter how much I put up with her or him, he or she is such a horrible person. That many experiences we'll have. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So far, we never had an answer, right? We always used to break our head. Why is like that? I've done so much, but this person, I've been so nice, but this person really betrayed me, poked me at the back, all angles, right? Why? This is a question mark which all of us will have. At least I had, and I'm sure most of you will have this.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. So this particular chapter not only gives us an answer for our questions which have not been resolved for these ages, but it is also going to give us a solution as to how we will react when we meet these people. So all ready to dive. Before that, let's start off with Mangalacharan. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timurandasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurun Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stamsayena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Svapadatika E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patidanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Rama Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. So now on to this particular chapter. So what is happening? So let's see what always happens. So starting with the first slide itself, which has got our Prakriti here. So we have these three modes of nature, right? And I request every one of you all to go on mute. Hare Krishna. As usual, whoever wants to read can have your hand raised and you all can take turns. So chapter 14 talks about the three modes of material nature, right? And Krishna is Nirguna, and I want to bring in this point here. Nirguna means he has no material qualities, right? So he is above the modes. That means he's a boss of the modes. And modes not only does not affect Krishna and does not affect people who are also under the focus of Krishna. So who's under the focus of Krishna? Who's under the who's under the personal care of address of Krishna?
Devotees.
Your devotees.
Devotees, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Your devotees are under the care of Krishna, right? So let's try and see what is happening. Before that, let's pay our obeisances to Shishirada Govinda. So very quick recap on the 13th chapter, which as usual Krishna opens with 6 questions. What is Prakriti? Which is what we are going to see. Something which is going to control the 3 modes, right? So that's the topic all about in the 14th chapter. What is Purusha? We are talking about our mini Purushas here in the Bhuloka. But to this chapter, we'll talk about our original Purusha, right? Who is Krishna? Kshetragna, body. Kshetragna, knowledge of the... I should be asking you, what is Kshetra?
The field.
Field.
Our body.
Kshetragna.
Body here, huh? Body.
Kshetragna.
Knower of the field.
Knower of the
Knower of the field, Mataji.
Jnana?
Knowledge, Mataji.
knowledge.
Absolutely. And what is Niyam?
Object of knowledge.
Object of knowledge.
Sorry?
Object of
Object
knowledge.
of knowledge.
Object of knowledge, which is...
The
Which is
soul.
super soul.
That's
I am so happy and so proud because this is one chapter which I have felt very difficult. Not only for understanding, but also for explaining, but trying to relate. All sounds very similar. No, Kshetra, Kshetragna, Jnanam, Niyam. Oh my God, it was too heavy. But I'm so happy that you all understood so well. I think I've got a whole team of very brilliant, Krishna conscious, intelligent devotees. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So this is all about it. So, and from 13.20 to 26, Prakriti, Purusha and the union, right? So we understood the concept that it is not Krishna, whom we always keep blaming. Krishna, Krishna, why this happened to me? Krishna, Krishna, why me alone? Why not the neighbor? So all these questions keep coming. And sometimes devotees say, I am so perfect in chanting. I get up and chant. I do Mangalarti, but still why do I have this problem? Because of previous dash. Because of previous
Karma.
Thank you so much.
Karma, Mataji.
Karma,
The result
okay.
of the karma is happening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So because of previous karma, all this happens. So now bottom line, what is happening is whatever has happened in the past and whatever is in future, it's all like one single thread of life, right? It's all a particular continuation.
Previous B karma.
Yeah, previous karma. So carry forward. So all this...
Saying previous B karma.
Previous vikarma. Not only vikarma, akarma also. Why we are thinking always negative? Sometimes somebody having a car, that's also punya karma, right? So even akarma is not there. Even karma, which is good karma, also will give you all this. But with the car, what you can do, you can go for temple and make it pious or akarma, or we can go for a car race, which can be in mode of passion, or we can use the same car for, transporting bombs, drugs or whatever, illegal money, all that can become your vikarma and forward for the next year. So now back into this line. So what is happening is, so all these things are what is going to give you a body, and therefore Krishna sanctions based on your credits and therefore Prakriti supplies based on what Krishna has told. So Krishna is also innocent, Prakriti is also innocent, then who is the dash flawed? Who's the culprit? Mini Purusha. Mini Purusha desires. And because of the desire of this Mini Purusha, I'm just using Mini Purusha because you should not get confused with Krishna. Mini Purusha, who is us, who desires, and based on that, to fulfill the desire, based on the credit, Prakriti, as per the regulation of Krishna and his orders, gives a body suitable. And we take the body and behave like the body, right? Jnana Chakshashu, vision of knowledge, we should have, so that we will be able to handle not only the 13th chapter, but also 14th chapter. So let's see what's in 14th chapter. 14, 1 to 4, the liberation and conditioning of living entity. So how do you get liberated, and what are the various conditions which apply to the living entity? 9, description of the binding of the pure soul by the 3 modes. Right? So what binds? What dominates will come there in the 10 to 13. Recognizing the supremacy of a mode. So we always feel the mode of goodness is supreme. Fine. It is not, it is relatively supreme, right? But supremacy here means who is dominating. So last time, we said, Manasvi, you get first rank. Do you always get first rank? Never in your life have you missed a first rank? Hare Krishna.
No, Mataji, I have always got first rank.
Okay, thank you so much, Manasvi. So this kind of a chance is pretty rare, which means that we are in mode of goodness. We should always be in that mode of goodness. We should not let the second rank, which is mode of good passion, and third rank, which is, fail, which is mode of ignorance, overtake. Right? But what happens is constantly they are on the race, right? So this keeps happening, right? Even in a race, if you keep seeing, it's not that we will always be the first. Sometimes, such person in the second will take a hit. So there is a constant competition which goes on. So that we're going to see, and what happens because of action, and what happens at the time of death, and how do we transcend the modes. So, liberation and conditioning of living entities. We are just getting into the first part, how they are getting liberated and how they are going to act. Yes, Sonal Mataji, please go ahead and read. Hare Krishna.
14.1. The blessed Lord said, again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. What is this? Is Krishna confused? Because in 9th chapter he told Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Sukam Gatmam. So where is this coming from? There also he's telling, the most, you'll get Sukam. That is, the most, confidential knowledge. Here also he's telling supreme knowledge. The point is, that is why I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, right? The best of all knowledge, knowing which. So what is he telling here? Is that he's telling that one has more to do with Sukam, and that's Rajavidya, which is the king of knowledge, which is confidential. But he says, I declare you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, doing which all the sages have attained perfection. So he says that's all the sages, you have the Sapta Rishis, and we also have 2 more additional Rishis. Why are these 2 more additional Rishis coming? We all are going back a small story bit of the original story of Brahma. Brahma had children, and we are going to the ancestry level, and Manus were also his kids, right? So in that first Manu is called Swayambhu Manu. We are going to take the story of the Swayambhu Manu. I told you last time, I'm just extending that story. So Swayambhu Manu had 3 daughters and 2 sons. Now, of the 3 daughters, I was talking to you about one daughter who is Devayuti and who married Kardama Muni, right? Now, Kardama Muni had 9 daughters, and 9 daughters, after that only Kapila, one more son, was born. So the 9 daughters got married to Sapta Rishis plus 2 more Rishis, right? So they are considered great stages. Even they attain perfection by knowing all these great story. I think this is from Srimad Bhagavatam story of Nabi, Canto 9. So now coming back to the same story, coming back to this, so that is what we are going to learn now. So, something which is going to really make us free, or, something which will make us reach the perfection. 15.2. You all can turn Sujata Mataji and our Siddharth Prabhu. Please unmute. You can start. Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Text 1.
Next two.
Text 2.
Coming.
Text 2, Sanskrit verse, right, Mataji?
No, Prabhu, you can read the 14.2 text.
English or Sanskrit?
English only.
By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he says, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain the transcendental nature, which is like my own. Thus, establishing one is not born at the time of creation, nor disturbed at the time of death. So, what is he saying? What is Krishna's nature? Spiritual nature, right? So, once you understand this knowledge, he's saying that you will also reach my nature. So, the picture here represents Vaikuntha. So, you see, everybody are having the rupa of Vishnu. Right, Narayana. So four-handed form of Narayana is present in everybody. So why is the four-handed form present in everybody? Because of the fact that this is called Sarupya Mukti. So Mukti are of 5 types, right? Of which one we are not going to get into the detail because that is talking about merging with the Lord. So we will not talk about that. We have what's called the Salokya, which means you will go to the same loka of the God. Sarupya, which we saw, having the same look, Saishta, so which is the same opulence of Krishna, right? So you look exactly like Krishna. And Saishta, I'm going to leave that because that is merging with Krishna, which is not considered as a mukti at all by the devotee. Other one is Shashti, right? So that talks about having the same, being the associate of the Lord, like Arjuna. So these are the various muktis which people get liberated. So this is one more example I can give is Vishnu Dutas. So what is the speciality of Vishnu Dutas? Vishnu Dutas are having the same form of Narayana, right? Why? Because they are so beautiful, and the only thing which actually differentiates them is the chain, the necklace which he wears, right? And Srivatsamar. So what is that? What is that pendant called? What Krishna wears?
Is it the Samantaka gem? No.
What gem?
Samantaka Mani.
Close. Goes by a particular name.
Kaustava Mani.
Kaustubhamani. Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So that is the differentiator. Otherwise, they get the same rupa. That is why people who see Vishnu Rupa, Vishnu Dutas, are very impressed. And why am I telling you is because all of you are going to see Vishnu Dutas, right? Because he will be our pickup point. He will be holding the placard for us. So you should know. So that is why, I'm spending a minute more on this. So to do that, let's understand how to manage to transcend the modes. So now text 1 and 2, introduction and glorification. Understanding this chapter will help one to get to attain liberation and transcendental nature like Krishna. So we can get the nature. So Brahma has 78% of the qualities of Krishna. Therefore, we will also be able to get 78% of the qualities. So that's the mark, right? So Krishna has 64 opulences, of which Vishnu has 60 opulences. Shiva has 55 opulences. So we are, and Brahma has 78%, right? So we can get as close as 78%. So that's the target. Yes,
Mataji,
yes,
Mataji, sorry to interrupt. Sorry
Yes,
to interrupt.
Prabhu.
Is it 64 qualities or 64 opulences? Because we
64
read
qualities, opulences used mixed, Prabhu, because if you see Nectar of Devotion, they will use word qualities. But actually, if you go to the main book, it also says opulence. But opulences, we normally stick to 6 because in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, it talks about 6 opulences. So normally we use the word opulences for that. And for 64, we just say qualities. But both are interchangeably used. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
14.3. Yes,
Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Mama yonirma brahma tasmin garbhandadhamyaham sambhavas sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth. And it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Hare Krishna. So we already have seen multiple thing, and then Prabhupada explains there are almost 11 contexts and meanings for Brahma. So Brahman, right? So we saw Brahman, effulgence, we saw eternal soul is also called Brahman. Param Brahma is Krishna. So there are multiple meanings of Brahma, and the material nature is also Brahma. How does it get the child is through the glance. It's mentioned so well in Srimad Bhagavatam that Mahavishnu glances, right? We saw that in Goloka chart also. So he just glances over the material world, which is Prakriti, and automatically he impregnates the Prakriti, right? So that is how Garbhadakshayi Vishnu enters each universe, and from his navel, Brahma comes, and he becomes a secondary creator. And in every living entity, our Krishna, mini Krishna, right? Not mini Purusha, I'm talking about actual Krishna, Paramatma, Shiro Dakshayi Vishna enters into everybody's heart, right? So this is very important. And I'm again, reiterating every living entity, right? So it, he enters. So that's the thing. And I also, I'll go to this. Hare Krishna. Yes, Manasvi, please go ahead. Manasvi? Hare Krishna. Sarvayonishu Kaunteya.
Yes, yes.
Ya Sambhavantiya.
Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murtayas Sambhavantiyaha Tasam Brahma Mahadhyonir Aham Bija Pradah Pita.
Hare Krishna.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Yeah, Bija means seed, so he's very clearly said that all species of life, right? So Krishna is very clearly telling all species. Has he ever told only human species?
No, Mataji.
It's clear. Why I want to tell this, because I'm from a convent. So in Christianity, they believe that they have a different concept. So they have a concept of zero, right? If you're talking about XY, they believe the human conscience is only elevated, which is true. It's elevated because that is the one which has soul from the God. The rest of them, they don't believe in such a strong concept. So they believe that from human concept you directly go to God if you're good, which is heaven. And if you are bad, you go into hell. They do not have a concept of depromotion to animal life. This is one concept, because many of them say we have 7 janmas. Many feel there is progressive ladder, that is from animal to human, but from human to animal digression is not there. So they do not believe in what's called the previous birth. They normally believe that currently I'm a human, and therefore the possibility is either there or here. So therefore, why I'm telling this is Krishna is present in every human, and therefore we have to treat every human equally. So when not only human, every living being. So when I say every living being equally, I'm not saying that on your dining table you put you keep the bowl for a dog to have its milk. No, but at least all I'm saying is we should not kick a dog or kick a animal or start seeing very inauspicious thing, right? Telling that, oh my God, cat came, so it's bad sagun. What if the cat thinks, oh my God, man came, girl came, it's a bad sagun? How will you feel, right? Probably it thinks, we don't know, right? So those are the things which we should get out, because Krishna is saying he's present everywhere. So this is the picture which I was explaining as Shiro Dakshayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu, how he impregnates various, the various universes. And the number of universes are as many as a huge mustard bag. Has that many universes comes out through the pores of Vishnu each time when he exhales. Right? So material nature, therefore, is a mother supplying living entity with the body. So it gives body to us, it gives us all that is required for us. And Lord puts him there, sorry, grammatical mistake is potent glance, and therefore impregnates. That's how it happens. So this is the first section, section A, as to how the material creation has happened. 14.5 to 9, description of binding of the pure soul by the 3 modes. How the pure soul is bound by the 3 modes we are going to see. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Sattvam rajas sama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha nibadhnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Yes, Mataji.
Material nature consists of the 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. Hare Krishna.
So very beautifully, each quality we're talking about, sattva guna. Normally, we feel somebody in sattva, right? Here he is saying that all three modes are there: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When you're contact by ourselves, we have an eternal nature and we are amazing, right? We are so spiritual and we are so pure. But the moment we come in contact with the material nature, we get, conditioned. So basically, what do you mean by transcendental quantities? Transcendental qualities means above the modes. That is why Arjuna is telling Krishna is telling Arjuna in the second chapter, Traigunya Vishya Vega Trigunyo Bhavajana Nirvandyo Satya Nityasya Niryoga Kshema Atmavat, which means what? Go above, raise above the three modes, right? Now we are going to see, okay, ignorance fine, passion fine, but why goodness? And that we're going to see in the next thing. Living entity condition, we just explained the soul is transcendental, but the moment it comes into contact, the three modes start operating, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance. Conditioned by the modes, the living entity is forced to act according to the mode, which means if it is in the body of a lion or a tiger, it cannot be sattvic. It will not tell, okay, I'm going to be vegetarian, I'm going to not harm anything. No, it will act like that. It will go and bite. Run. Same way a snake, right? We always say you can't tame a snake. You can even tame a lion, but not a snake. Why? Because snake is in the mode of passion. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that every human being, most likely, the previous birth would be anyone in the mode of goodness. I'm saying would have been a cow, right? So because cow is a mode of goodness and sattvic qualities, they derive the same thing when they take the human form. The nature of the soul by itself is Sachidananda, right? So yeah, go ahead, ma. Hare Krishna. Manasvi?
Yes, Mata. Yes, Mata. Tatra sattvanni malatvat prakasha gamanamayam sukha sangina badhnati jnana sangina chanakha.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness.
So very clear. What is wrong? Somebody in the mode of goodness is great, is always what we perceive. But the problem is, the moment they are in the mode of goodness, what happens is they develop what's called knowledge, right? They always have a lot of knowledge and they get a feeling that they are very content, they are very satisfied, and they always have a feeling that they know everything, right? So if you go to somebody in a mode of goodness and tell, what, this is the right thing, I know everything, because they always have this superiority complex. So let's see this video. One sec.
Come, let us go for a stroll in the countryside. Look, I brought us a healthy picnic lunch. The air is clean here, so peaceful. Here we can get away from the agitating elements of the city.
Hare Krishna. Saw the video, so you can see the mode of goodness. And Manasvi, you can start reading 14.7. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tanni badhnati kaunteya karma sangina dehinam. Yes, Mataji.
The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, one is bound to material fruitive activities.
So we saw anyway in the mode of goodness, right? We are going to come and read what happens at the time of death. But now for the time being, for this, what happens, mode of passion is, unlimited desires. Desires go on. Why unlimited? We have a number, right? So let's say Tata Birla, they say, they want to be rich. How do you define rich? So somebody, who's at the beginning of a career will say, I have 1 crore, I will be very happy. But when he gets 1 crore, the 1 becomes 10. When he gets 10 crore, the 10 gets readjusted to 100. and that number goes on, and there is no way they are content with that. So you take Tata, Birla, Reliance, Ambani, all of them, even at the age of 80, or they will continuously keep working. They will never stop, because that's the passion. So incidentally, in one of the meetings, I met Anmol Amman, right? So we were having a chat, and at that time, on a very light note, I had this curiosity. So that time I didn't understand too much of the word passion, but the word passion came out of his mouth so many times. I'm very passionate. He was very calm, but he said, I'm very passionate. In fact, he was traveling to various places, mainly to the metros, when he started the unit, and he met some from each city. And he personally got into the job. Why? He wanted to get right from the bottom of it. But the more end of it is what, he wants to start from the bottom, but his major motive is to go and take or double or triple or keep increasing. So his talk was, I am thankful for all of you, who have personally come over here. And also I would want to thank, I'm meeting, about 10 of them from each main metro cities, so that we will think how the business will double. Right. So why I'm giving the version is because can you use the word double, triple, which means that the number which they have and they've got is so high, but they now get into the passion that, okay, dad created so much, I have to double it. Right now, whatever dad's money is there, is so jubilant, is so much. Am I going to retire and think of Krishna? No, there is absolutely no time. He went abroad, he did his education, but his main focus was to double. Right? I'm not saying having doubling is wrong, but I'm just trying to explain to you that that is a mode of passion. So what happens is they'll be forced to have body after body, because they are so focused on the fruitive activities, right? So they will never be having that liberation, because the number clock keeps ticking upward, right? So let's see how they feel. All motivational speakers will be of this quality. You will see in college, schools and all, you can do it. Come on, just do it. You can. Come on. Yes or no? You would have heard all that.
What are you doing, man? Out here working on your tan? Monday's the honey Sunday! I bet you forgot about Susie, didn't you? You're supposed to take her to Vegas this weekend. Lose your money, Vegas. You'll be rich. You'll reach the top. Just one hitch. You're just unstuck. Just can't get it.
Right, very commonly heard, one rich and all that. Yes, Manasvi, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Tamastvajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya annibadhnati bharata. Yes, Mataji.
O son of Bharata, the mode of ignorance causes the delusion of all living entities. The result of this mode is madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So delusion, right? Mohana means delusion. So the ignorance is they are constantly in delusion, into drugs, into tricks. So during Prabhupada's time, so I think I'm not sure if I had shared, but still. So people who were taking LSD, the drugs, right, and who were hippies abroad, they said, Prabhupada, whenever I take, I am getting so exalted feeling, I'm thinking of Krishna. So that time he said that no, you don't get exalted feeling of Krishna when you take drugs. You will get when you are actually involved without drugs with Krishna. That is only bhakti. Right? So these people have their own mental concoction. They are so much into madness. Passion is also madness, but this is like actual madness, like the Asuliya madness, right? You have to be like literally, they are ignorant. They are completely sleepaholics. They keep sleeping for hours together. And this is what happens, right? That this is about the thing. And by the way, Nandita Mataji has marked attendance. Please go ahead and click Hare Krishna.
Hey, that's that! That's that, man! I think you just need to chill with me. I got some 6-packs in the fridge, play some video games, watch some TV, shut the curtains and just shut out the world. Sounds good, huh?
Hare Krishna. So I hope you understood. So basically, three modes of material nature: goodness, conditioning. How the modes of goodness binds entities we saw. The best examples for goodness also we saw. First thing we will see is how illuminates. It frees. Any goodness is basically it frees us from all sinful reaction, right? And we have a sense of happiness and knowledge, right? Because of that, it starts by you. You have contentment. You are so satisfied, and you know that you are the ultimate. That makes gets little horns, and therefore you get dissatisfied. Now, if you go into passion, how to an extent, what happens in philosopher and poet, how what impact they are satisfied, right? They are content, right? So therefore, with that satisfaction, they will be less sinful than others, but still, chance of liberation is completely gone. So I told Brahmana, we are talking about that mode of goodness. And also, I wanted to tell you the mode of goodness does not, it also is a gradient. It is not a point. For example, it is even in the top lokas, let's take Swarga Loka. Swarga Loka, the mode of goodness in our Loka and Brahma Loka, it's different. Here, mode of goodness is one. In heaven, they want to enjoy it, right? Whereas if you take the Brahma Loka, Tapa Loka and all, they are fully into meditation. So that is on a very pure mode of goodness. That is there. It is also goodness. But what happens is all of them in that Brahma Loka do meditation, go into the body of Brahma and directly go to Krishna at the time of annihilation, because they are in the highest mode of goodness. So even when you say, right, when we use the word distinction, somebody who's got 90% is also distinction, someone who's got 71 is also distinction, right? So every percentage matters, but the person who's at 71 is very different from a 90 or a centum, right? So why I'm saying this is because the levels are very gradient. It's not a point, right? It's a range. So goodness is happy, passion, is active, and the person is still active, and ignorance is helpless. What happens with, first we saw for goodness what happens. In passion conditioning, what it ties them, right? Desire and attachment keeps tying them. Characterized by strong attraction for man and woman. All this you can see. Therefore, advancement of modern civilization, currently they see it's passion, right? Come on, yeah, be passionate for your work. You should have passion in your life. Otherwise, how will you go? Typical 18 days class question is, Mataji, how will we have motive to study if we do not have a passion, or if we are not getting a first rank, or if we are not, doing it? Now we have Manasvi here always getting first rank, right? So in Krishna conscious. So does it mean that if you're in the mode of goodness and if you're in Krishna conscious, you will be a loser? That's our perception, right? So we have always been successful in both material and spiritual qualities. What are some products of mode of passion? We've seen hankering. You also want, it's like my city, my country, my nation, my family, extended self. It's ultimately self, but it's an extended self, right? And everything around us is for self-gratification. It will be more to satisfy ourselves, right? It's the fruits of the work. And destiny is again no chance of liberation. So ignorance conditioning it's so blind, it actually puts a person in delusion, and it's so confusing. What are the characters? It's opposite to the mode of goodness. That's so easy, and one cannot understand why, what, nothing. Cannot even forget Vijnanam, he will not have Jnana also. It is only madness and laziness. 6 hours not sufficient. He will have 10 hours, intoxicants. Always he's dejected, always frustrated. Destiny, again, no chance of liberation. So this one we saw about the modes and conditions, how it affects. On to 14.9. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Sattvam sukhe sayati rajah karmani bharata jnanamavritya tutama pramadi sanjayat yuta. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, Prabhu, read.
The modes of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions him to the fruits of action, and ignorance to madness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. So the mode of goodness, right? What happens? So each of the passion conditions can be the fruits of action, and ignorance to madness. It makes someone really mad. Right? So these are the things which the modes talk of. Why is what we just read, and we'll just go forward, we'll understand more. So this is a classic example, right? Goodness takes him to Swarga. Passion, again brings him, so that we'll see at the time of destination, but broadly, it conditions him. You get into happiness. The person does more and more food activities. Drugs, drinks, It really binds them, they are more into it. Now let's see even section C. Supremacy of the modes, right? Ranking, I told you. First rank, second rank, third rank. So let's see what rank and who is great, right? We always feel once you get into a mode, you are born into the mode and you are therefore content. Anyone knows Murari's story here in this group? Does anyone know Murari's story? If you know, type in the box. Thank you so much. So whoever knows Murari's story, come well made up, full makeup, and I want you all to open tomorrow's class with that Murari story. Because you all told me last time that if I ask unexpectedly.
Yes, Mataji, when I know the Murari story.
Very nice. So tomorrow, first thing you all are going to tell me Murari's story. Now I am thinking of, after completing the class, taking you a little bit to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's story, if that's fine with you. Hare Krishna.
Yes, please, Mataji.
Sure. Thank you so much. Recognizing the supremacy of a mode with a person, right? So within a person, how does the supremacy, when the modes reach supremacy, how does it go up? So please go ahead, 14.10, Hare Krishna.
Sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharata. And sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and at other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Bhagavad Gita 14.10.
Hare Krishna. Just remember this because it's very important. Every time who is going to dominate, right? When we are talking about whether the mind is a friend or an enemy, we have to understand which mode is true. End of the day, we are in a situation who is tying our hand. Mode of goodness is like having a golden shackle. Mode of passion is like a silver shackle, and mode of what is the thing? Ignorance is like having an iron shackle. You can choose which shackle. All three are equally shackled. You have to break free and go to the mode. But then it's like only through promotion. From here, of course, you can be like Murari and directly get promoted. It's very difficult for us. So at least we will do one level at a time. So now let's assume that all of them, right? We have 64 of us in the group. Currently, we are all in mode of passion, right? So mode of passion is dominating. In this group, there is one person who is not listening, taking the mobile, middling and messaging, right? So there is a shift from mode of passion, goodness to passion, right? And there is also one person who is regular to this class, has not come because his or her friend has told, let's watch a movie. So there is a shift into mode of passion, right? Now the same person who is meddling with the mobile gets so tempted, instead of seeing the message, there is one particular link and he goes and there are some, very obnoxious videos and he or she is completely carried away. Direct shift from mode of passion to mode of ignorance in the moment. So can you see a person has come to the class, moves into mobile, which is passion, and there goes and messes up with something, some video, shifts immediately his focus into mode of ignorance. So who is taking now from the mode of goodness, ignorance is taking. Same way, somebody who's gone for a movie is in a mode of passion, that Prabhu will come late in the night, sleep, and tomorrow morning he'll think, forget it, why talk about Mangalarti, forget Japa also, I'll get up late, one day, Sunday. Straight mode of passion has driven and mode of ignorance has taken control. So these kind of modes keep acting in every class, so every chance, right? So now there was one particular question which I totally could relate to me, because for me getting up early in the morning was never difficult. But keeping myself late is tough. And likewise, I'm sure you all will have vice versa, right? So when Namnishta Prabhu told, one day you take this class, so live, right? This class, I was thinking, okay, one day I shouldn't tell no, but I thought it was only one day. And later, it's become a permanent class. I'm so happy, right? So what is happening is, am I feeling sleepy? Am I not? Honestly, if you see, yes, I sometimes feel sleepy at 9 o'clock. That is a behavioral problem, right? But if I am moving into a mode of ignorance or passion, I can always tell Prabhu, I'm very tired or I'm very busy and I can go and sleep off at 8. A classic example of this will happen to all of us in the morning. Getting up early is difficult, easy for some, difficult for a few, and very difficult for many. But how you feel, you can't change, right? Can I get up at 3:30? I fix the alarm. Someone may be very busy, suddenly they can get up. Some will feel very sleepy, 5 minutes. Someone will switch off the alarm and sleep. What can you control is not to switch off the alarm. Now, after you get up, you may feel tired, you may feel sleepy. That is fine. That is a bodily reaction. But what is it you have taken into action is, if you get up, that is your mode of goodness. Your resultant, how you see Dushkruti, all the things which are there in your body will stay. It will take some time, right? But at least you burn the mode. right? And to become a gradient in that mode is a different story. Now, as soon as I get a bhav, chanting, that stage will take more time. But to get up, if you give away, it means that mode of ignorance has taken its form. Hare Krishna. 14.11. Hare Krishna.
The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Hare Krishna.
How many gates are there in our body?
9 gates, Mataji.
9 gates.
Nine.
9 gates.
What are they?
Ear, two
Anus,
ears,
anus, nostrils, ears,
eyes. 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 forceps,
anus,
anus,
Mataji,
and the
Genitals.
reproductive.
genitals,
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So basically, it is said that mode of goodness can be experienced when the gates are illuminated with knowledge. So when you have knowledge, and when I'm talking about knowledge, I'm talking about spiritual knowledge, right? So we already said, Andam tama pravishyanti eya vidyam upashate tato bhuya ivate tamu yayu vidyam yamrataha. Andam, it's blind. If you're, somebody who's in really darkness, if he thinks material knowledge is ultimate, right? So that very clearly is explained in Isha Upanishad, which you're going to learn in level 3. Soon you'll be going in 1 month's time, so you can all start reading. So very clearly what he says, so it's all illuminated by knowledge. Now we are going to see how other passion is going to work on. Hare Krishna.
14.12. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. Bhagavad Gita 14.12. Hare Krishna.
So mode of passion, right? So every time you tell, for my child, I will always give whatever my child asks. Perfect, very nice. So that child, I'm taking he for convenience of talking. He, gets all that he wants, fine. He tells, Mama, buy me this, granted. Buy me this car, granted. Buy me this house, granted. Buy me this girl, not granted. Why? Because it's another human being. The girl says no. Now this guy is in the mode of passion. I want this girl. At any cost, he will go and tell her, he will request her, he will beg her, he will get so angry that he will murder her also. Right now, the shift is directly from mode of passion to mode of ignorance. Right? So now, if you put Krishna conscious, even if he is in the mode of passion, he will understand, okay, she doesn't like me. Right? So at least like what we see in movies, whatever my lover loves is what I love. Give way. So that concept at least will develop. So for that, why all this is happening? Because of that extensive attachment. Right, we saw that Kama Esha Krodha Esha, right? So Kama Krodha is dominating so much that he is not able to do that. He's got multiple wishes, and we also saw we don't have a single focus, right? Vyavasayatmika buddhi, ekeha kuru nandana, right? So one focus, if you have, you'll be clear. But you have multiple circles. Girl also I want, car also I want, house also I want. When you have multiple things, your desires are continuous and will go into. So this is the mode of passion. And there is also something called, right, passion murder. Some word I read. If someone knows who can help me, it's called passion killing, right? So I don't know, killing, how do you call it? Passion killing. So these are the terms which are coined in the present day. Hey Krishna, come on, 14.13. Yes, please take turns. You're raising your hands. Each of you all can take turns and go ahead.
14.13. O son of Guru, when there is an increase in the mood of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. Hare Krishna.
Inertia, not doing anything. That's why we say Krishna conscious is not inertia, it's full of action. Ignorance, completely, you don't know what you're doing, you're mad. You just get into all these dark, deep sides, right? Into drugs, anything which is addictive. It's not only drugs and things. Even if you're going to play, not just gambling, but share market trading is also that. Whenever your adrenaline pumps up, then you get into this mode of, you're slowly moving from passion into a wrong side, right? Online gaming, the blue whale, all this is moving into mode of ignorance. This one we'll talk about what happens when there is a birth or a death when it comes to the 3 modes. But predominantly, I just wanted to tell you all about this. Remember always, all these modes are gradient, and why I'm saying this point, and especially when I was telling, is when we see someone who's too good. And I had this person, right? So this is a friend of mine. Actually, one day my daughter and I had gone into swimming. Like we went for swimming, and she had she came home and she said that her eyes was little blurred. But it happens because chlorine water does have an impact, but it gets normally cleared in 1 hour, 2 hours, but it did not get cleared at all. So I just got worried and I just called her, and she actually, told me, okay, just see, use this drops. I said, no, I'm not taking a chance. I'll come. She said, okay, come to the hospital so that, I have that, whatever instrument you have so that I can see. So I told, okay, no problem, I'll come. And she said, this has got into some kind of an allergy that it's affected the retina. Mildly, it's temporary. So I'll give you some eye drops and just take care, right? So as usual, you know what it is. And then what happened is she followed up with me 3-4 times, right? At 4 o'clock, and then she called me at 7 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, right? So I was very scared. I got scared more because she called me. So I was wondering, what is wrong? Because doctors usually don't follow up, right? But she was like constantly checking on me. So I thought the problem was one, and I got a little worried if the problem was significantly more, right? So this is a problem when you are in a different mode and you try and see someone who's very different, right? So basically she was more concerned, right? With doctor in our profession, I thought she was more worried, right? So this was the thing. So I did not understand this, and I was breaking my head. And we are generally very suspicious of it. So I understood this was her character only when second time when I took my mom and I went for an eye dilation. She said, "How did you come?" I said, "Drive me." She said, "How will you go back?" I said, "Drive me." So she said, "Are you going to drive?" I said, "Yes, I'm going to drive." She said, "Okay, just stay and just leave, because normally it will take about 2 hours. You'll have a blood." I said, "It's okay, 2 kilometers, I'll manage. I will somehow manage and go." It was in the morning at around 8ish. And so it's fine. So she messaged me when I was driving. I didn't see. I went home. I didn't see because phone was difficult. Then she called me a couple of times. I didn't pick up. She said, "Okay, have you reached home?" I said, "Yes." You could have told me, right? So I was like really worried. Only that time I understood she was genuinely concerned, because her reaction was same for a dilated pupil also and for this, right? And then I asked her, in fact, I said, "I just wanted to ask you something, okay?" And you know me, right? I can't hold it to myself. So I just asked her, "Hey, that day when I brought my daughter, you were like calling multiple times. Was it because you were checking as a doctor, because there was seriousness of the issue, or was it that you were my friend and you were doing this?" She said, "Both. I knew the seriousness of the issue, so I was checking. I don't keep checking with all patients, but I did that with you because you are close to me." The point what I want to tell is, when we are in a particular mode, we may not be, forget appreciating. First, we don't even understand. Right? So I'm definitely not in the mode of goodness. So therefore, I was wondering, why is she checking on me so long? Is there something, is it something more serious? Of course, since she was my friend, I thought like that. If the person was an enemy, I don't think, was she up to something? Is she up to something? We'll be wondering. Thankfully, I didn't get that situation. So this kind of a thing happens to us. Likewise, if someone is very bad, so I always used to tell there's a gradient, right? Up to 90% we'll be able to understand. Above that, we can't understand because our brain doesn't calculate that. Same way, up to 10% you can understand. Below that, because the extremes are never understood, right? So during one time, the initial types of job, so I was telling, that to my boss, I was telling why performance, is there for good, average, and below average. Why is there no performance appraisal for extraordinary? That time he gave me one statement. He said, you've traveled abroad? I said, yes. Many places you've been. What are the toilets you've seen? I said, normally I'll see a ladies' toilet, gents' toilet, or a common toilet. Right? These are the things which are there abroad. So, or India, wherever. So he said, have you ever seen, a toilet for a unit? Right? For HR, whatever you call it. So I was thinking to the extent I could recall, maybe there are few now, but I could not recall. He said, why? Because the focus in the entire world is on the majority. So same way our mind. So our mind will be, most of us are in the middle, so we'll think. And what is above that, which is more of goodness, we'll not think. What is below, we will not think, right? So this is one thing which is a take home. Second vijnana which you'll have is, now somebody is, let's all assume that we are in a mode of passion. For that sake of understanding, I'm drilling this in your head because it's very important. We're all in a mode of passion. Now let's assume that there is one person who comes in a mode of ignorance and tells you are so dumb, okay, which happened. And yesterday I actually witnessed this. So we had been to the passport office for renewing the passport for my daughter, minor. So obviously I had to stick around with her. So I was inside the passport office and we were like right behind. So our charge went down and for the mobile. So some of the documents were in the phone, so I wanted it safe. So there was a security. So I asked Anna, can I have it charged? He said, no problem. He was very sweet. He appeared to be in the mood of goodness because to me, he allowed me to charge and he told, okay, break the line, be here. Okay, you have a kid, so you guys can go inside and all that blah, blah happened. So we were there just then, he was freaking out. He was telling, with all the possible words at the passport officer who looked calm. He said, all kind of abusive language in local Tamil. He said, you come out, I'll finish you up and all that, right? And that time I was noticing this particular passport officer for a while. I told him, once you start these modes, and he was very calm. He said, okay, we'll see, we'll take care. Now, immediately my daughter said, I don't know, I can't call him completely innocent. We don't know what he provoked. Very true. So there is never a fire without fuel, and I'm not getting into that part of the story. But I was just thinking how there are two options. Now, the passport officer appeared to be in a very calm state. Now, if he comes down and throws his weight by telling, you are me and I will also hit you back, right? You think you can finish me? I can finish you. What is happening? Let's assume somebody is in a mode of passion. Okay. And this person is in mode of ignorance. This person is screaming and he's here. Now this person tells, I will also scream to his level and I will be equal to him. He is not equal. He's coming down. Did we realize most of the time we feel we want to take head on. We want to give them back. But remember one thing, the person who's given us are probably in mode of ignorance and he has not changed. He is in his position. But the person who wants to give back is in a higher mode and has come down. So what has actually happened? We have gone down for the person. That other person is just there. So do you see that we have degraded for the sake of that person and not that that person has come to our level? We have gone down, right? We always use the word don't go. There are many, many examples which people say which we don't relate. They say, if you try and pull a sari from a thorn, the sari gets torn. And even if it is stool, right? You go touch the stool, stool touches you, you are only hurt. All these are examples, but it never goes to our head. But this one is something which I want to really make you all understand. I also took some time because when you meet someone, this is what will run in your mind. Okay, mode of goodness. And we have so many psychiatrists today, so many psychiatrists who actually are talking about various qualities, but they have to understand these modes play a role, right? And what is very important, why do we need to understand this mode? Okay, so now we are all having dharma meter in the house. Most of us do. Yes or no? All of you are sleeping or what? Usually I'm the one who sleeps and I see so much silence and I'm scared now. All awake? Awake. Okay. So
yes, Mataji, I am awake and active.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
We are listening
awake.
to you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. What is the body temperature? Normal body temperature?
98.4.
Thank you so much. 98.4. 98.4 is mode of goodness. So mode of goodness is not like super great. Wow, I'm in mode of goodness. No, that's a normal temperature. That's how it should be. Now 99 or 100. What do you call 900?
Fever.
Fever.
Fever, right? But not so severe. You can manage. You can manage on your own. If you put little efforts, you can take little bit of tablet. You manage your diet. You can manage, which is the mode of passion, right? 104, 105. Immediate. Immediate external help. That is the point. So mode of passion and goodness you can manage. But if you're in mode of ignorance, it's not wrong, but you definitely need help. Here the doctor will be devotee association, get associated. You need to pick up the japamala, that is the medicine. And for you to stay in 98.4, also you need japa because you have to stay there. Like how Manasvi said, Manasvi, you get first rank once now, you don't have to study now because you got first rank for the next.
No, Mataji, I have to study because.
Why, Manasvi?
Because I have not learned yet. I am not in 12th class. I am in 4th class.
So to maintain that first rank, she has to put her effort. So even if you're in mode, you have to keep chanting, which we are going to see in the 17th chapter, that no matter what we should not live up charity and all that. So what we are saying is that at any point in time, we should always be focused on the modes, not only with an outsider, but also within yourself to keep understanding what is this particular mode which is going to act on, right? So this is something which I wanted to tell, and with this, I will conclude my prayer and you can ask your doubts after my prayer. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patidanan pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all of you.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna. So
Krishna,
thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Rama
So we
Rama.
are, whatever Nandita Mataji was chanting, or rather was playing in the video, is Shishtrashtakam. Shishtrashtakam is Chaitanya. I wanted to take some time off to talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because this month is Gaura Purnima and 18th March happens to be his appearance day. So Shikshashtakam is 8 ashtakas, like 8 verses he has left. And why has he left only 8 verses? Because the 8th verse is a summary of everything. Only 8 verses. And who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya is the incarnation of Krishna himself. We keep telling, right? Every time the destination alone is not important, the journey is important. So Krishna every time sees his devotees and he is very excited. He says that the devotees are so happy, the devotees are so excited, and the devotees are exalted. They have so much of happiness. What is it gives them happiness, right? Now Krishna is also serving the devotees. There is service, but he sees that devotees are more happy than him because the devotees serve him and getting more happiness serving Krishna. So to understand that, of course, there are two more reasons, but for the time being, I will tell one. To understand that bhava of how happy a devotee feels, Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and of course, everything he has a purpose, and therefore, as Chaitanya, he gifts us. What does he gift? What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gift us?
Harinam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Mahamantra.
Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare. What happens is the first stanza happens. I'm going to chant this shloka. Please bear with me. I'm not great, but I'll try to sing. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Chetu darpana marjanam bhavama Dhavagni nirvapanam Shreyakai Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandambudhi Vartanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swagatam Sarvatma Stapan Param Vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Hare Krishna. Can someone please read the English meaning?
Jai Mataji.
Please.
Glory
Krishna,
to
Mataji. Can I read?
Shri Krishna.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, please, one of you read.
Akshay Prabhu was reading.
Yeah. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtana movement is a prime benediction of humanity at large, the rays of the benediction of moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of the transcendental bliss, and it enables us the nectar for which we are always anxious. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Reddy Garu. Hare Krishna. So basically, what is it? It's a Cheto Darpana Marjana, means he's cleaning. So personally, Krishna, Chaito, he's cleaning, right? So he's telling all glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, which cleanses the heart, right? For the dust accumulated years after year, this is accumulated and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, right? This particular conditional life, it is completely extinguished only because of the, what happens, repeated birth and death keeps happening, right? So what does Sankirtan movement actually give? Why do we chant? By chanting, we think of Krishna, that's all. And automatic cleansing started taking control of us, right? Now, those days Krishna was riding chariot, today car steerings, right? So Krishna is personally taking control of it, and Chaitanya brought it from Goloka Vrindavan to us because he felt in the age of Kali, we don't have time, we don't have intelligence, we don't have age also, right? We want to enjoy so many things. So he brought the super fast yagna, which is called Sankirtan yagna. And therefore he says, please do the Sankirtan yagna. That is enough to deliver you. So that is the sweet message of Chaitanya. Chaitanya is called the Channa Avatar, who is no one other than Krishna himself. Now I have 2 days, mainly today. I have 2 things which I wanted to tell, both about Chaitanya. Should I tell one story long, or do you want little stories of Chaitanya very quick? What would you prefer?
Little story.
Little past
Little
time.
stories.
One complete story.
Little stories, Mataji.
Two
Story,
little
someone
stories.
says
Little stories,
Short and
Mataji.
sweet.
Little stories.
Little
stories. Okay, I will
stories.
stick to little
Full
stories
story,
today.
Mataji.
Okay, so I will tell you many stories of Chaitanya, small, because most of us, at least I didn't know too many. So I'm going to start with that, and many of them, and one big story maybe I'll tell tomorrow. So let me start off with the story of Chaitanya. Madhuri, who did this presentation, made my job easy. So basically Chaitanya, what is speciality about Chaitanya? So I'm going to start with the pre-birth of Chaitanya, right? So pre-birth of Chaitanya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, prior to, he was supposed to come, right? He was born on 18th February. But what happened is, even 18th February was when he came, but he was supposed to have been born 3 months earlier. So instead of 10 months, he was in the mother's womb for 13th month. And anyone knows the mother's name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Sachi
Baby.
Suchi, right? Suchi Mataji actually is the mother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was carrying him in his stomach. And Suchi's father is also very exalted astrologer and very exalted person. And he does see the horoscope and say that this child is going to be born on a very special day, very special occasion. And maybe he is looking for the right time. And that time he came. And why are 3 names here? Because he was called Vishwambar. Right, that was his original name when he was born. And like Krishna, he has many names. So one name is Gauranga. Why Gauranga? Because he was golden color. He was looking like Krishna with Radha Rani's complexion. So he was golden, right? Anga means limbs, right? So golden color. So he was called Gauranga. And also he was called Nimai because he was born under the neem tree. So they wanted to call him Nimai so that no ghost or anything will affect him. The name Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came after his initiation. That was much later. So Nimai was so sweet when he was born. So this was his pre-birth, right? Why did he come? Because Advaita Acharya, who is none but we sing, right? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Nityananda is Balram. Shri Advaita Gadadhara. So I'll come to Balram later, but Advaita Acharya, incarnation of Shiva and Vishnu together, he prayed telling, please come and please liberate the fallen souls, right? Therefore, he comes as the Sachima and Jagannath Mishra's child, right? So now we will, this is the story we saw, this is the picture. So this child will continuously cry until someone says, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Immediately stop crying. So what happened is, when he was a small baby, in the lap of his mother also, he managed to get this Hare Krishna Ma mantra out of everybody's mouth. So somehow they understood, whatever lullaby songs you sing, whatever jingungi sounds you make, he will cry. Only with this. So everyone who visited him used to say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They will go on and on. So he started the Sankirtan movement and brought this mantra as a baby, right? So that is the first speciality of him. So now moving on to the next, right? So every pastime you can see it resembling that of Krishna. So Chaitanya also see straight hairs, Krishna had curly hairs, so they're a little different. But actually they both are identical, just the complexion is different. He is eating clay, right? At this young age. Krishna also ate, right? So what did Krishna do? We all know, he opened his mouth. So here Chaitanya tells his mom also brought food, right? So Chaitanya says, mom, what is the difference? You're also giving me mahi is what they call, right? In Bengal, you're also giving me the same clay, because clay I'm eating, you're getting upset, and you're also giving the same clay because from the bhumi, right? Only you got all these plants, so they are also matter. So when you have such intellectual children, what normally mothers say, they will tell, "Shoo, keep quiet, first eat. I don't have time for this." Or no. But this intelligent child's intelligent mom gave him a very intellectual reply. So she tells in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela that, child, if you eat this, which is a form of food, which is prasad and which is very good, you therefore will become very strong. But But if you eat this mud, you'll only get stomach problem and you'll get disease and you'll fall sick. And she very beautifully explains. So what happens, first moral is very similar. He also eats mud and gives very intellectual thought, and Sachi Mata counters with a very intellectual answer. Now there are these two thieves and they see Chaitanya. Chaitanya actually born to the poor Brahmana only, but all those who came, right, they brought a lot of sweets, everything, jewelry, and therefore child was playing some jewels, and these thieves thought, okay, let me just kidnap the child. Very beautiful child also, right? And the thieves went back. They went to the house to kidnap him, and to keep him in a house, they finally, they're taking him off with all the jewelry, and they brought him where? They brought him right to his own house. They brought him back to his same house where he was there, right? So he, in fact, his own house they brought him. So he got him bewildered. So that was his specialty. Now, after that, when he was small child, they made him write. So typically at the age of 4, right, Sanskrit is very difficult, but they taught him. And he was so fast in grasping Sanskrit. In 2 years, from the age of 8, he learned. But before that, what happens is he starts understanding this so well. And he's called Jnani, right? So he gets into that, it's called Nyaya. Nyaya is a kind of understanding a particular Sanskrit. You call it scholar. There is no devotion right now. He is currently a scholar, right? So Kolavecha Sridhar story I'll tell later. This comes much later. At his younger age, what happens is a Brahmana visits his house. So the father calls a Brahmana and tells him that, can we give dinner? The Brahmana says, I don't eat, I will only serve to the god. Then Prasad only he'll eat. So he makes his own food and he calls for the god. And our little Nimai Pandit, Mini Pandit comes and eats of that food. And he says, oh my God, you can't. And he now, father also scolds him and he tells, don't do this. And, second time also he cooks and it's almost 2 o'clock. Again he eats off. So again he is very tired. He says, please don't do it. And again he waits and again he eats. So again he waits, and again he is not keeping quiet. Again he is like eating off the food. This time, third time, what he did, they locked him up, and this time they really kept him away and kept the Brahmana free. And Brahmana said, oh Krishna, he comes and eats off. Brahmana says, oh my God, Nima. He says, no, you only are calling me and you're telling like this. Me? He says, and he shows, someone asked me, right, 8-handed form. So Narayana Rupa is 4-handed form. This particular, he shows 8-handed form. What does he show is, he shows his Vishnu Rupa, which is a 4-handed form. And he shows 2 hands where he is holding the flute, right? Krishna holds a flute. And another 2 hands of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu where he's having curd rice, another hand where he's eaten the curd rice. So cute, right? So this is the 8-handed form which he shows to the Brahmana, thereby telling him in confidence that he is Krishna himself. And he says, you have been asking me, show, and now I'm showing you, please take it. Right? And then Vishwarupa is his brother, and I already gave an introduction. He is none but Balram. Please don't get mixed with Nityananda Prabhu. That will come later. Now Vishwarupa is Balram, and this is his actual real brother. Story is Sachi Devi had 8 children, girls, and all 8 died. After that also they never forgot any thought which came in the mind. They were majorly, the faith they had. Imagine for us one small problem. Krishna, why me? God is not there. God is stone. Not at all true. All this goes on. But someone who has lost 8 children still thinks hope, and they prayed and they got Vishwarup, who is Balram, and after that Nimai, who is Chaitanya, who is none other than Krishna, comes into form. Now this Vishwarup takes sannyas, right? And the parents were very upset and they immediately think, oh my God, the Vishwarup is very, very educated. So he gets into philosophy. I will not send the son to any of this. So immediately what happens? This our little boy goes ahead and, tries all stripe, didn't work. And therefore he goes and sits on the mud pot after that, when he's like 7-8 years, he's sitting on the mud pot and trying to, these are mud pots which are used and broken and, basically kept away. They've been kept away because these are not usable. So they've been chunked. He goes and sits, which is called Asuddha, right? You don't sit. And father gets very angry. He says, why are you doing all this? And his mom also is like upset. He says, what is wrong? These are anything, is Suddha. These are supposed to be for prasad, but even otherwise, they are very Suddha. So, and then he comes innocently and says, what to do? I don't know between good and bad. please send me to school. And they feel, okay, you can't live with this boy, send him. So that is when 8 years he goes to school, and in 2 years, in 10 years, he becomes a scholar. He becomes so exalted and he becomes such a great scholar. After that 2 years, that's why I just told you, right? He is more of a philosopher, Nyaya, right? That's called the Nyaya philosophy, where he understands in and out of Sanskrit. To understand Sanskrit and to preach takes 10 years, but he becomes a Pandita, right? And after that, what happens is there is this person called Digvijay. So is this picture of Digvijay there? He's Digvijay. What happens to Digvijay is Digvijay is very special person. It's called Nimbaka. So I'm not getting the name. Yes. So he is a scholar and he is coming to that particular village, challenging any scholar can come and challenge me. But that time, what happens is he is this boy, because it's a win-win, right? So if he loses, they will tell we all would have won you, but he's a small boy, so what to do? But if he loses this particular sport, what will happen is, if he wins, you can say, even my boy in my village, you can see, are so profound, and he won. So Chaitanya is so sweet. He says, Pandit Prabhu, you're so talented. Can you please sing a song on Ganga? Where am I? I'm just a small boy. So he sings 100 verses. 100 verses. He composes them and chants, and he spots 5 errors on spot. Though he initially doesn't say, he says, no, but can I tell? He says, tell what? And he spots grammar, root, verb, and 5 errors in that. And, he totally gets astonished with that boy. Just imagine 100 verses in a row, right? One verse, if I tell itself, you will go off our head, right? 100 verses in that understanding, finding the error, finding the grammatical error, finding a preposition error and addressing it and explaining it was like, was off the roof, right? So that is a specialty. So these are his initial pastimes, and then his brother takes sannyasi, offers him also, telling, would you like to come? He says, no, I don't want to take sannyasi because I want to be, my child, child, like I want to be for my parents, and I don't want to take sannyasi. I want to stay with my parents, and therefore, satisfy the Lord, because satisfying the parents is satisfying the Lord. And he decides to stay back, and he stays back. And then after a few days, after the brother also is gone for sannyasi, his father also dies, and he's very upset. Mom is also very upset, and that time he decides, okay, we'll marry, and he accepts the proposal. Vallabhacharya, who is like as good as Janaka Maharaj, and he marries Lakshmi Priya, right, at the age of around 14. He marries her, and he's there. And what happens in few days, she is not able to tolerate the departure. These are very exalted thing, and so she has a snake bite and she dies. In fact, first time when they both see in the lake before the proposal, also they exchange looks, and they do recognize each other, because she is none but Lakshmi Devi, who is Rukmani Devi. There was one person who fixed the alliance, right? And this person was none but Vishwamitra in the previous Janma, during Rama time. And he was the one who brought the alliance. And during Rukmani's time, he was a Brahmana who was actually being a messenger, taking the love letter of Rukmani to Krishna. So the beautiful Chaitanya Charitamrita will link everything. So this will bring the characters who have lived to the Rama's time and Krishna's time, and they are reborn, because Krishna comes back only with the associates. So, so this is happening. And then what happens is, after a few days when she dies, they're all very upset. They're all upset. What happens is, he again remarries on the request of his mother. He marries who's called Vishnu Priya, who's again, and is Lakshmi herself. And all this, he goes to a place, right, Gaya, right? Over there, what happens is, he actually wants to meet many characters. So that is what is going to be there in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. In the very first thing, he will get to know Rupa Goswami, and he will also meet his younger brother. So Rupa Goswami, there are 6 exalted Goswami. Rupa Goswami is the younger brother, and Sanatana Goswami is elder. They are working under the Muslim rule. Rupa Goswami comes all the way to have a look at him, and the moment he sees, he recognizes him, he calls him forward. So this is how he meets him. He also meets Nityananda, and when Suchi Mata meets Nityananda and him, she feels that they are two brothers, and Nityananda is none other than Balram himself, right? Such an exalted, and he is so happy because he has been for years staying away from, he can't be without Nityananda. You saw he's Lakshmana in the previous birth. He is also, along with Krishna, he is Baldeva, Balram, and Nityananda comes, right? And Nityananda also has a pastime. So Nityananda is the eldest son for his father, who is so lovable, and he says that I want my son 24/7. He was so exalted. Wherever his son goes, he will go. Wherever he comes, he will come. Such was the dedication of Balram's, who in this case was Nityananda's dad. And there was this Brahmana who came. And this Brahmana wanted he was staying there, and obviously Brahmana asked his elder son, somewhat like charity. He says that, can you allow your elder son to come along with me, because I'm going to visit the various places. So, imagine how the parents will feel, but they don't have a choice. They gave away him, and he was Nityananda, and these are all pastimes so that he has to come and meet Chaitanya. So this is what happens. And this picture is very important because here he meets, can anyone guess? This is the Naam, right? This is the actual Diksha ceremony, Ishwarapuri, right? He is Ishwarapuri. And can you, anyone tell me who is the spiritual master of Ishwarapuri? All of us know him.
Jagannath Kishore, Jagannath Kishore Swami.
No. Jagannath Mishra. Jagannath Mishra is a father.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Madhvendra Puri.
Hari Bol Mataji, amazing. Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri's disciple is Ishwara Puri. Ishwara Puri disguises, he comes in a disguise over there, and later he recognizes, he behaves like a, he doesn't behave like a Krishna devotee, he just pretends to be a, Mayavati sannyasi. But when they are singing about Krishna and all in the group, he's just not able to control, and he just tells of, oh, Krishna, it shows off, and every close associate are able to make out. And finally, he comes in search of, he comes to Ishwara Puri. He himself tells him, you tell me this Diksha, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he takes back the same Diksha back into his ears. And that's how he gets initiated. And that changed his life. Now Guru will change life, because till now he was only focusing on the Nyaya philosophy, which means philosophy, and everyone in the village used to tell, had he brought a little bit of God in him, he would have been so exalted, so intelligent he was more like a scholar. But after Diksha, he became completely different, and he only spoke Harinam. So he went back to his village, and then he started his Harinam Sankirtan movement, and that really started in a full-fledged. So this is a short brief. And about the pastimes of Nityananda, I will tell you all tomorrow, because I think I took a long time. I'm so sorry, Hare Krishna. But I thought it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, so we need to know a little bit of pastime. I will continue tomorrow with one story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Remind me, I will tell you the Nityananda story. And we will continue the pastimes next week again, some of the pastimes, right? Hare Krishna, and thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any doubts? I never asked you for Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So there are some questions here. Hare Krishna Mataji, can you please repeat once? Supreme wisdom in the chapter. Okay, I will do that. And yeah, attendance is there. Please go ahead. Thank you for another wonderful stories. Icing on for the session. Yes, Gauranga. I'm also learning about Gauranga. We've also not heard. That's why he's called Chandavatar. Excellent session, which you keep hearing. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Yes, Santosh, this particular chapter is more special, right? Raja Vidya is most confidential knowledge, which is devotional service, which we learned about Raja Vidya. But how do we practice that? Devotional service is one word, but this chapter helps us as to how the process, because we all are talking about Gira and all that from the second chapter, but how can we be Gira is by transcendenting the modes. When you transcend the modes, you become a pure devotee. So this one helps us to do that. So this is like a process, right? So that is why this is again a most confident. This is not confidential knowledge. This is a most important knowledge which everyone should have and implement. Hare Krishna. Is there any other questions? Otherwise, we will all tell Hare Krishna and end this session. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
What a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
session.
Thank you so much. Me too. I enjoyed Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. I'll end. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Can I end the